This is a bassoonist. And this is a rapper. Two musicians you don't normally see together in the same room, let alone performing in the same piece of music. But here we are in the home of one of classical music's most prestigious conservatoires and my old stomping ground, the Royal College of Music in London. And I doubt very much whether there's been any rapper performing on stage here before, let alone one accompanied by, of all things, a bassoon quartet. They're about to perform a new piece I've composed specially for this crazy and unique combination. To understand how we got here, I need to introduce you to the rapper himself, a young man who goes by the name of Kaesu. We've known each other a couple of years now.
Yeah, a couple of years.
Family friends, we'll say for now, shall we?
Yeah, family friends.
I'll explain how we know each other in a minute, but I think the key to this project was a particular kind of more sensitive school of rap that Kaesu comes from. Was there someone who you first got into in terms of becoming a rapper yourself?
Yeah, I think definitely Lil Kana.
Reckon she's standing with her mum saying to her, look, mother, there's the sun. Rooted in the moment, told the memories are done. And yo, I sit and start to wonder on the woman she'll become. Now I have a son and a daughter, one that I brought up.
I think he was so vulnerable and emotional, yet still a cool rapper. He reminded me a lot of me as well, being a mixed race, sensitive and very prideful in the loving relationships he had with his family, his mom, his siblings, and the way he could just talk about that openly and beautifully, but also do it on a hip-hop track. Those two worlds really did something for me.
Which is really interesting. I think, especially if I speak to classical people and I tell them I'm doing this project, they would probably go for the much more cliched images of rappers, and vulnerability wouldn't necessarily be highest.
Yeah, I think that's something. It's always been a bit of almost a contradiction when I tell someone that I'm a rapper, or I usually say I'm a writer or a poet, and then that's what I lead with, and then say rapper as well.
Little town, close to the shore, two lost little souls, we ain't been there before, and the sun starts to set for our evening walk, and you're the apple of my eye, even the stalk.
It's interesting that Kaesu's had successes on TikTok, not just by duetting other well-known creators, but also by reading his own actual poetry.
How do I give you all this love before we go somewhere else? Clear it all out, nothing left on the shelf. If a second of time is a raindrop, then a second of my love is a lake. So how do I give you every last bit in just this life, just on your work break?
So rap and poetry are pretty closely connected, and the idea started to form in my mind. Why couldn't a classical composer like me set a rap to music in just the same way I might set a piece of poetry? A rap is essentially a poem with a particularly strong sense of pulse and maybe a particular performer associated with it. I asked Kaesu if he had anything suitable, and although many of his raps are pretty positive in tone, he came back with a quite challenging rap focused on his battles with mental health as a young man.
Since about a time when I was struggling with my mental health, I was a little bit younger, and at a time where I didn't understand myself as well, or how to articulate how I was feeling. I kind of referred to this kind of pain inside of me as this other side of me, or this alternate version of me that knows everything about me, knows all my weaknesses, strength, thought patterns. And then there's a transition throughout the song of how I then begin to see it as opposed to an enemy, a smaller version of myself that's trying to guide me, or is just calling out for help rather. And there is a part which has quite a nice rhythm to it. So this part goes: I'm sitting in a cavernous mind, the ravenous kind, grabbing any balance it finds or passion of mine. I'm sorry that I'm callous at times, my valorous side declines in a battle of pride and why. It happens that I'm lacking a spine, cause I don't like it when the mirror looks me back in the eye. I don't like it when he's bigger but we're matching in size, but you won't see a sliver in the back of my eyes.
I'm sitting in the cavernous mind, the ravenous kind. Grabbing any balance it finds, a passionate mind. I'm sorry that I'm callous at times, but valorous side.
So that was the original demo track, but Kaesu also sent me the vocal stem of this performance, and this became the starting point of my composing process.
I didn't code getting close and the villain rose. Yo, the villain knows every little code.
I notated Kaesu's performance in full, and I decided I wanted to keep that largely unchanged, as that's fundamentally what makes this a rap. And I actually found it very engaging to have to compose against this kind of rhythmic restriction. But I was still figuring out what lineup of instruments to actually use. My original idea was bassoon and string quartet.
Okay,
so there's always a bassoon there for some reason.
Yeah.
I think it's because it has quite a funky edge, but also a sort of darkness. Maybe that was what it was. Anyone who's not convinced that bassoon can be funky should check out Get It by Gene Koshinsky for bassoon and cajon. So this was a first quick sketch for bassoon and strings.
I wish that I could see in the dark a grey cloud in the sky with the breeze of the past.
But I just felt there weren't enough bassoons here. And then I just thought, no, I need more of that.
More bassoons.
So that's how we ended up with our bassoon quartet, which consists of 3 standard bassoons and 1 contrabassoon, an octave lower than the others. Some of the bassoon music syncs up precisely with Kaesu's delivery, and some of it holds long notes, allowing us to hear his flow over the top. And a couple are a bit more intricate, where there's a strong sense of rhythm, but it's different in the vocal and the accompaniment. I think I realised, perhaps later after I'd written most of it, that I was treating this bassoon quartet as your kind of angry inner voice, if you like.
Okay, yeah.
So the second half is like your inner voice is calmed.
Okay.
That was my thought about it. And so it ends with this slightly like a breath or the sound.
Interesting.
Oh, I didn't tell you. Yeah. So this is the score.
Oh.
And I thought you'd like it. It's David Bruce and Kaesu. The composers.
I like it.
So then it was time for Kaesu to get down to work and learn how this rap that he'd written fitted in with my new bassoon parts.
I guess we're kind of practicing how we'll be interacting on stage, I guess. So will I look at the camera? Will I?
I think he felt a little nervous at first, but he quickly got the hang of it.
I wish that I could see in the start a stray sound in the mind when they're free in the heart.
And then before we knew it, it was time for the big day itself. I'd managed to secure one of the best up-and-coming bassoon quartets from the Royal College, the Donax Quartet. And thanks so much to the two Wills, Paddy and Jonathan, for all the hard work they put into this. We weren't sure where we'd get to film, as it was exam week and everything was pretty booked up, but by some miracle the main concert hall was available. It's a spectacular setting, which if Kaesu was intimidated by, he didn't really show it.
It's gonna be good. I'm excited.
So that's the story of how we got here, and all that remains now is to have a listen to this mad piece we've created. I've honestly no idea how people are going to take this, but I hope you enjoy it. I'll put the full score and recording up on my Patreon, and any support you can give me there will help fund future Madcap projects like this. And thank you to everyone who already supports me there. So without further ado, this is Breakout by Kaesu and me, David Bruce, performed by Kaesu and the Donax Quartet.
I wish that I could see in the start a stray sound in the mind when they're free in the heart. I wish that I could see in the dark a grey cloud in the sky with the breeze of the past. I'm laid down, I don't see any stars. A race now, break out, I can't tell us apart. I really wanna tell him I can't. I wanna tell him this is hell and I don't wanna be calm. No. Forbidden foe, I didn't know, written in my story but hidden under the bit of smoke. I didn't show while the villain grows. I didn't cope getting close and the villain rose. Yo, the villain knows every little code, every bit of hope broke by a killer blow. I didn't know what this villain chose, this little dome for a home. I didn't know. Cavernous mind, the ravenous kind, grabbing any balance it finds, a passionate mind. I'm sorry that I'm callous at times, but valorous side declines in the battle of pride and wine. Yeah, it happens that I'm lacking a spine. I don't like it when the mirror look me back in the eye. I don't like it when he's bigger, but we're matching in size. But you won't see a sliver in the back of my eyes, no. I wish I could see in the start, a stray sound in the mind, running free in the heart. I wish that I could see in the dark, a grey cloud in the sky with the breeze of the past. Yo, I'm laid down, I don't see any stars. A race now, break out, I can't tell us apart. I really wanna tell him I can't. I wanna tell him this is hell and I don't wanna be calm. I sit and rewind, listen with eyes, hidden in a villain disguise, an innocent cry. It's filling the mind, living alive, wishing it was given a try or given a time. So I stop, and I listen to your calls. I see your smooth, see the scribbles on the wall. Now I'm wishing I was never fooled, I never stood. I'm wishing I was never cruel. Now I see what you're telling me, you were never the enemy. You wanted peace, you wanted serenity's arms. You tried to speak, I was quelling your melodies. Every time I couldn't breathe, you were yelling your remedies. The venom's hereditary, instead of ahead of me. I couldn't breathe, you read it poetically. You planted a seed, embedding a therapy. Now I can really see you were ready to better me. Now I can really see you were ready to better me. Now I can really see. Now I can really see. You were ready to better me.
Guys.
So I mentioned I'd tell you how I know Kaesu. He's actually my daughter's boyfriend. She herself didn't want to appear in the video, which is fair enough. I'm sure that must have added a whole extra layer of stress to the project for him. So a double thank you to Kaesu, both for letting me play around with his creation, but also for dedicating so much time to this project. And thanks again to the outstanding Donax Quartet. And after what felt like a massively successful session, a fantastic sounding countertenor started rehearsing in the hall after us, and we sat on the steps outside the college and had a little debrief. I was so happy as soon as we got going. The bassoons in that hall just sounded really, really good.
Yeah, they did.
And it all just, I felt like you were just super relaxed.
Yeah. I think they
felt natural. You belong here.
Yeah, it did feel like they made me feel really relaxed. I think they were, they made a mistake. They weren't like too crazy about it, and it was a lot of fun.
So have you got any different impression of bassoonists and music students, or?
Well, I was talking about especially when the musicians that needed to use the room afterwards came in.
Because you saw a countertenor just as we were coming out.
Yeah, beautiful voice. Just the way they were setting up and stuff, similarly to the bassoonists, the way they were setting up, it was so relaxed and casual. But I'm taking it all in, and it's still quite a lot, but seeing them go about their day and they're used to it all and they're just setting up and it's just kind of like another day at the office for them. That was quite interesting to see as well.
Yeah.
And do you feel nostalgic being back here as well?
I do, yeah. I was saying that met my beloved wife just, I first saw her just down the street there.
So some good history.
And on that stage, I remember a piece I wrote called Crosswinds, which was like one of the, it was like 10 players, and it was the first time I really felt like I was pretty happy with what I'd done. I remember standing on the stage and one of the professors started talking to me, and they were playing, and I was like, the sound was sounding so good. I was like, I couldn't talk to him. I was like, do you hear this shit?
This is me. That's really
So that's one of my nicest memories from that hall.
a lot of cherished memories here. It's good to add to the bank.
This is way up there as a top memory. It's forever going to be the Bassoon and Rap Hall from now on. We'll rename it Kaesu Hall in a few years.
No, don't.
And we need to get rap on the prospectus at the Royal College.
Yeah, that would be, if that started something.
Let's get on it.
Let's do it. Definitely.
David Bruce, 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 David Bruce.